My definition for revenge porn is sharing of private sexual materials, either photos or video of someone without their permission.
I'm studying pictures and sharing pictures of nude pictures on social media.
In the form of pornography. It's just related to cybercrime, which is related to cybercrime.
Years ago, I was in a relationship with a guy that he was 5 years older than me. I was young 18 and being in love for the first time. Last year he got a scholarship and he's supposed to go Australia for further study. Before he left to Australia, we have a night of drinking. He wanted us to have a drinking game. I was underage and never been drunk in my life before. I don't remember much what happened on that night when I started drinking, but I was blacked out and intoxicated when he pulled out his camera. After 2 months when he was in Australia, he hardly messaged me. He hardly contacted me. But I found out later that he had a new girlfriend. Disappointingly, I messaged him and told him that I'm about to end our relationship. Shockingly, he replied with an unexpected response, sending me all the nude pictures of me that he has taken on the night that we got drunk. He asking me the only way to avoid him from uploading all those nude photos of me is sending him $1,000 every month. I try to send him that amount every month, but it came to a moment that I don't have enough money, and I asked him to give me a chance, but it's too late. He already uploaded my photos on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
The laws have very specific provisions and safeguards in place, particularly in relation to the posting of visual images that constitute an anathema or an assault to one's sense of dignity. Fundamentally, the human rights concern is that while you have the right to freedom of speech, expression, thought, and opinion, you have to balance it with the right to reputation and the right to privacy. A lot of people actually said that, if you look at the Online Safety Commission, this is about, muzzling dissenting voices that are critical of government. I think common sense needs to prevail. The point is that when you post compromising images of somebody, intimate, images of somebody, usually lewd, it's got nothing to do with freedom of expression. This is done fundamentally to rob people of their sense of dignity. And therefore, the Online Safety Commission, provides the platform, the avenue, which is necessary for people who feel that someone's online activity has caused harm, and so there are various remedies available under the Act that the Commission can provide. But there's a larger question around the importance of balancing the right to reputation, the right to privacy, one's right to human dignity, with the imperatives of freedom of expression, thought, opinion. The social media platform is unlike any other platform in the sense that once the visuals are posted, they're going to be circulated at an amazing speed. There are no boundaries, and therefore fundamentally, once it's posted, the damage is done. So you're dealing with a kind of challenge which is unprecedented. For instance, if you had the mainstream media, you have certain regulatory sort of frameworks in place. There are ethical guidelines that determine what can be published and what cannot be published, and there's a right to appeal and all that. But the fundamental question was, what does one actually do when you have something like the social media? So that's what we've done, in terms of just thinking through the human rights implications of that. The other issue, of course, is that when you look at something like social media, it can be a catalyst for democratic change, particularly when the fear is that civic spaces are shrinking and all of that. But on the other hand, the social media, if abused, can accentuate existing polarities, can render people much more vulnerable, particularly if they are already vulnerable. If you look at marginalized, and vulnerable groups like the LGBTI community, the social media has become the space in which people propagate hate. Hate speech is one of the biggest problems, and hate speech on any of the prohibited grounds of discrimination. But particularly what we've seen is a surge in comments that are misogynist, they are homophobic in nature, they are racist, and therefore, now what we're seeing is not only do they post, hateful comments, they supplement it with images that are, compromising of people. Audio-visual recordings that constitute an assault on one's sense of privacy, and an assault on one's sense of dignity, and anathema to the right to reputation, I think needs to be seriously thought through. The fundamental problem, of course, being one of preferential framing, where one set of rights are privileged over another. And if you look at the criticism against something like online safety and all of that, is that people think that this is all about really tightening the noose on freedom of expression. When you look at something like revenge porn and all of that, you begin to realize that no, rights come with responsibilities, and you should be able to balance what those rights are. I mean, we need to jealously guard the right to freedom of expression, thought, opinion. It's fundamental in a democracy, but at the same time, so does one's right to reputation.
Report to the police. When they report to the Online Safety Commission, of course, the commission will then refer the matter to the police in terms of investigation. In terms of sentence or punishment or retribution, the offence that is provided by the law is 5 years imprisonment. That is the maximum sentence, and of course $20,000 fine as well.
Depending on the gravity or the seriousness of the complaint, they will either take it on to court or give it elsewhere for the matter to be addressed. So it's the Online Safety Act of 2018. There are certain sections that specifically deal with the legal procedures, and they are sections 17, sections 22 and 24. So those are the sections that you look to look at what legal procedures are available. Okay? Section 24, subsection 2 of the Act addresses that. So it says that upon conviction, the individual is liable to a maximum penalty of $20,000 and or 5 years imprisonment. First of all, that doesn't mean as victims, people, they want to hide under like the nearest hole and not be seen by their family and friends. It's like it's a very, very big stigma attached to this thing. Your picture or image appears on Facebook or other social media. Right? So it really begins with the person herself, the victim. So the choice lies with the victim, whether she or he wants to take this matter further and lodge a complaint. So whether they want to report the incident. So the stigma attached to this kind of thing is quite high. So when your image appears in social media, all you want to do is hide, right? You think that people are staring at you when you go down to town. And what happens on social media? You post something today, the next minute it goes viral. So what do you do as a victim of porn revenge? All you do is the first thing to do is to tell your family. Tell your family, tell your close friends, right? Because you don't want them hearing it from other places or reading about it. Check your privacy settings. Check turn off your webcam when you're not using it, because all these things can be turned on by remote. Seek legal advice, what avenues are open to you, and try to seek counseling as well. There are counselors around. Try taking the post down if you can at all. Try taking the post down. Keep the evidence. Keep the evidence. The minute you see something like that, keep the evidence, because there's a possibility that it might end up in court. Right? So, and when it comes out in public, the person who perpetrates this might want to take it down and delete it because you might feel a bit unsafe with it. But all you do is, when you first see it, download it, keep it as evidence.